What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Backcourt Bros. I'm your host, Will Neufeld, here, accompanied with my fellow companion, Ryan Rivas. Say hi to the folks, Ryan.
What's up, guys?
And holy cow, so free agency has officially started, and it has been a little bit crazy. Like 2019 crazy when Kawhi left the Raptors a little bit. We got some dynasties ending, some pretty big names signing on some new teams. So let's start with the biggest headline by far, and that is Paul George signing with the Philadelphia 76ers, forming a bit of a big three with the 76ers, who have Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and now have Paul George. So, Ryan, my question to you is how do you think that this offense is going to play out in Philadelphia? Do you see them as now contenders in the Eastern Conference?
Well, I'd say for sure they're contenders now. What position does Paul George play? Like small forward, power
Yeah.
forwardish type thing? So he's a forward, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's a pretty big forward with a guard's handle and a guard's skill capability. Add that to Tyrese Maxey's guard abilities, and what was he like? Wasn't he just like a most improved,
Oh,
I
yeah, he was
believe?
most improved.
And then Embiid won MVP the year before Tyrese's most improved. So all this combined is superstar and championship status on paper, but like, can they provide that in the playoffs? Is my question. What do you think
Yeah.
about that, Will?
So when it comes to playoff basketball, you know that it's a lot more intense. These players have just played an entire season, so their bodies are going to be a little bit weaker. We know Joel Embiid has suffered with injuries in the past. Maxi is young. He is full of energy. I don't fear for him when it comes to injuries. But Paul George is like 34, 35. So he could be in the injury realm with Joel Embiid. I don't think that's going to be too much of an issue, though. But when it comes to like contending in terms of a roster, I think that they are still lacking pieces. They have the star power and they have the offense, and they just actually signed Eric Gordon, who's going to definitely improve that offense. They
Oh,
have another free agent in Buddy Hield to figure out,
oh yeah. Especially
and
off the bench. They need to get that off the bench power together for sure. Like,
yeah, they need to improve their defense. Like guard defense, they need someone to come off the bench, kind of point guardy guard. I want to say Patrick Beverly kind of fits that bill, but I mean, you know how Pat Bev be. Who knows if he returns to Philly? That would be interesting though. Uh, yeah, they need like an Alex Caruso kind of a player, and once they can get that, like I'm set. I feel like I'm still gonna have the Celtics over them. A healthy Bucks roster, I think I'm still gonna take a healthy Bucks over them. But what do you think? Do you take this new Philly squad or a Bucks squad and compare them as if they were both healthy?
I don't know, man. You see, the Bucks are missing Drew Holiday and his fantastic defense. But with a young Tyrese Maxey, I don't think even Drew could even slow that down. That's just a take. That's just a take. But it's very possible. But with this new 76ers team, they have like a lot of star power. Like it's just gonna overwhelm Giannis because no one's stopping Embiid with all that flopping. Like
Yeah.
Giannis can't do anything about it. And Joel Embiid makes his free throws too, so you can't just like play hack a Shaq with them. So I honestly have Sixers coming on top of this one. What about you, Will?
So I want to say Bucks just because I don't know. I feel like Damian Lillard and Giannis are a better big two, but I like how the Bucks have kind of gotten that. They don't honestly have a big three in terms of like superstars. They have like one superstar level, like all time great in Joel Embiid, and then they have a good vets kind of a guy in Paul George, who's
Oh
now
yeah.
uh, he's as you said earlier, a wing with a guard's handle and plays great defense. That's going to come in handy. And now they also have a young and hungry, unstoppable, as you've talked about earlier, Tyrese Maxey, who they just extended for a 5-year deal, also in this year's free agency. So I I like this 76ers squad a lot. I think that the Bucks defense with Brooke Lopez and Giannis, Dame
Mm.
is by no means a bad defender, but they are definitely missing that Drew Holiday defense. Chris Middleton is getting old, so honestly, I'm gonna have it at a tie. I think that they're right up there. So Yeah, that's my take.
What do you think about the 4-year max for Paul George with the 212 million with the Paul George's age and like everyone else's age on the team and like contending? What are your thoughts about that, Will?
So Paul George is getting old. This is going to be the last big contract he gets, I'm pretty sure. Uh, you know, he's going to be what, 38, 39 when this contract ends. And so that's going to be like LeBron age. Now, Paul
Yeah,
George has, snapped his leg before. Like, he's not going
yeah,
to have that kind of longevity like LeBron had. We don't really know how that's going to look like yet. We know he's suffered with injuries back in the day. LeBron is a player who plays a similar position to Paul George and is also just been the prime example of longevity. Being able to do what he does at his age is absolutely insane. Like older players who stayed long in the league, like Paul Pierce, Vince Carter, they played just to have fun. They didn't really like contend at a level like LeBron is.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I don't see Paul George being a LeBron, but I don't see him being a Vince Carter either. I think he's going to fall somewhere in the middle in terms of his longevity. So I think ultimately this contract for him is a good deal. I think that 4 years is going to be, I think that's like the perfect number. I think like if they did a 5 year, which I don't know if that was even allowed, but if they
yeah.
did a 5 year, I think that would be, that's just a little long. But yeah, I like what Paul George is getting with the Philadelphia squad. And yeah, let's just see if they can get past the second round.
Yeah, man. Another thing I want to add about that is kind of the fact that he's probably gonna have to take a back seat to being like a. I mean, wasn't he like a second option in Clippers,
Yeah, he
like
was
to
second
Kawhi?
option. It went Kawhi, then him, then James Harden this past season.
Oh yeah, but didn't Kawhi was not injured like at all during the regular season, but then playoffs comes. Paul George couldn't shoot the rock again. Pandemic P. The rumors are true.
Yes,
So
sir.
he's probably gonna have to take a third seat in the playoffs to Maxi, which that might be a little problem for his ego if he has one. We haven't really seen it much, but like it's definitely gonna have to be something you got to think about for him.
Yeah,
But
it is really interesting to have an older player like him. Like as a youngster, he was really good, right?
but
Like
yeah,
everyone thought, oh, this guy's probably going to win at least one championship before he's like 35 or whatever. But here we are, 34 years old or 35, I forget. Uh,
yeah,
but he hasn't really reached that. But as you said, I think he might have to take a third seat to Tyrese Maxey because Maxey just won Most Improved Player. What's to say that he doesn't step his game up again next year and becomes possibly even better than him? I think that they're neck and neck right now, but I see Paul George regressing while Tyrese progresses. So, you know, but that's just that. We've talked a lot about the 76ers now. Let's move on to the Western Conference here. We'll only talk about this for a little bit. We don't have all the details on what is happening with the Warriors right now, but supposedly Klay Thompson is not going to be a Warrior next season. It's a sign and trade for 3 years, 50 million with the Mavericks. We don't know if that's official yet, so we're gonna keep it pretty light here on Backcourt Bros. Uh, but what I want to ask you, Ryan, is for as long as me and you have been fans, the big three in the Warriors, if it's even a big three, it's more of a dynasty. The
yeah.
Steph Curry, Draymond, Klay Thompson, uh, it's coming to an end now. Now that they've gotten rid of the Splash Brother, number two to Curry's incredible shooting. Uh,
Jordan Poole. Oh,
they got rid of the third Splash Brother. Now they got rid of the second one. What do you think this says about the organization? Do you think that they're gonna try to like rebuild now, or do you think that they're gonna use Clay's salary room that they got from losing him to maybe get someone better in a trade? What are your thoughts?
so here's what I think's gonna happen. They've been building up assets with like a really good Jonathan Kuminga. We saw really good potential in him last season. A rising Moses Moody and Brandon Pubzensky and what's the other guy? Trent Jackson Davis.
Yeah,
They have really good assets now. I don't believe they have many picks, do they?
I think they do have a pick, maybe just
Yeah.
one.
Right. because they use Chris Paul a lot to like help mentor Jonathan Kuminga, Podzensky, you know. So now we've seen really good flashes of them, but they're not winning out on the Warriors timeline, you know. Like
Yeah,
especially
I
after
definitely see
Chris
that.
Paul just got waived by them and it's signed with San Antonio. Big news right there. But like,
Yeah,
well, they're not in a good spot for their future, I'd say. Unless they make a good move to like replace like Kevon Looney or something like that. Get like a decent role player like Reggie Jack. Wait, no, Reggie Jackson already got signed, didn't he? Yeah, Reggie
yeah,
Jackson got. Maybe get like KCP maybe to like put with Steph like an age timeline that if it doesn't work this year, like get rid of them all. That's all I can say.
yeah. Here's my take on that. I'm with you on like when you have Stephen Curry, you have maybe one, if we're being generous, 2 years left of like his official prime. You got to use that to win him championships, right? Uh, the thing is that he's not going to win a championship with this squad, and they have young assets. And so for me, it's like the Warriors have to choose. Do we, trade Curry and Draymond? And I know that sounds so weird. Like trading Steph Curry is words that should never come out of anyone's mouth. But if they do that, they could get some really good young pieces around like Jonathan Kuminga, even possibly better pieces around Jonathan Kuminga than just, Kuminga and Moses Moody and Pods. Uh, but I don't think that they want to do that. I think they want
Yeah.
to keep Curry as a Warrior for his entire career and win a championship with him. So if I'm the Warriors, I don't waste any time. Like by this offseason, I would use all the young guys to try to get some sort of star. Maybe like the Clippers have a really bad run without Paul George or whatever, and Kawhi looks like he's available. He doesn't want to stay in LA. James Harden's being a butt. Maybe they snag Kawhi for Steph, or not for Steph, but with
Well,
Steph. And, like Draymond Green for Kawhi Leonard straight up,
absolutely, bro.
nah. But they need to get some superstar around him. I don't
Yeah.
think that you can just get like KCP, Caldwell Pope, as you were talking about. That would be a good piece for this Warriors squad. I like how he brings defense and 3-point shooting, but you need a bigger name. You need someone to help Curry out a little bit.
Oh,
But
you know what also stands out?
what?
The Bucks. The Bucks, like if Giannis, they have one more bad playoff run. Damian Lillard gets injured or something like that again, he might be out, and Warriors definitely could sweep him up. Like we've already heard Giannis say before that he would like to pair up with Curry, so you
Yeah.
never know.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think that the Warriors are going to do? Like if you're the GM of the Warriors, do you rebuild around your youngsters and your picks, or do you and in that scenario you trade like Curry and Draymond or whatever? Or do you keep Curry and Draymond and try to win now? What do you do?
Honestly, you have a good option either way, honestly. Like a lot of people would be willing to do a lot of things for Jonathan Kuminga, bleh, Moses Moody, Pods, and Trent Jackson Davis. A lot of people want them, and they're not on the market quite yet. But like they have a good future with them, and if they were to trade all that away, get some good pieces around Curry and Draymond, you know, I think it's a 50-50 for me. You know, it's
Yeah.
kind of like a flip a coin type thing.
I think that's where the Warriors management is at too, because it's like they have the young players, but they also have Steph Curry, and they don't want to like get rid of them, and so they're kind of at a crossroads right now.
Yeah.
But I think that's all the time we have for today. Thank you all for watching. I'm your host Will Neufeld. This is my companion Ryan, and we will see you guys in the next one.